How is it going? Real Estate for Real with Eric Pettigo. That's me. I'm Eric Pettigo, flying solo today. I've got a really good one scheduled, and it's a realtor roundtable with a few other friends, and it's going to be a really fun one. But we've had to cancel a couple times. What is difficult to do? I know, like I talk about on here, that I have trouble sometimes booking people to come on with me. And I try to not just do these on my own, even though I do have a few solo ones, and I'm not against doing solo ones. I really like having conversations with my realtor friends. So the challenge, though, that comes with that is working around everyone's schedule, because we're busy. And it's not just that we're busy, it's that sometimes we wake up in the morning with nothing on our calendar for the day, and then 9 a.m. rolls around and we've become booked solid. And I know you guys can relate. That is what our job is. So if you saw me, I was looking for my phone. It's around here somewhere, and I don't think I turned it down. So at some point, that thing might start ringing. That's all right. But what I want to talk about today, this is one I've wanted to put out there, and this is obviously not just for realtors. This is going to be useful information for people out there who want to buy a house, but have a house that they need to sell first. And so this is because a lot of people are in that position. It's, you want to buy something, maybe you need a more space for your growing family. Maybe you're looking to downsize, whatever the case may be. You want to buy a new house, but you have a house that needs to be sold before you buy that house. It used to be, I don't want to say easy, but it used to be easier, because you would call, I would come over, we would get your house ready to put on the market. We'd stick a sign in the ground. Why not? And then we'd go start looking, because we knew that more than likely it was going to be at least 30 days before somebody came along and made an offer. And so that was going to give us time. And not only that, but the houses you were looking for, we had options. I could take you through 10, 11 houses that were all on the market right now that kind of fit what you were looking for. And we had time. And we weren't so rushed, and we didn't have so much pressure to find something right now and get your house sold right now. And things just weren't moving as quickly as they have been over the last 5 years. So we've kind of run into this issue when people have a house to sell. And this all started right after COVID. So interest rates drop down into the twos. And I know I've talked about it on here before, and people blame, they throw blame everywhere on why the housing market is kind of what it is, where houses are selling for so much more money than they used to, over asking, people are getting outbid, and there are a lot of different reasons. But the main thing that I saw was when the interest rates dropped, it brought all of the buyers kind of off of the fence, and they immediately were ready to go buy something, because realtors, we know that we always have clients that are ready to buy right now. And then we have clients that are, toe in the water, sitting on the fence, thinking about it. If the right one comes along, at some point in the next year, that kind of stuff. We've all had those conversations. So, what happened, though, when those rates dropped is every single one of those people were going, well, I'm going to buy right now. I mean, why not? Rates are great. I'm ready. Let's find something. What we ran into, though, was a market where all of the people who normally would have called us to list their houses, giving us our inventory. You've probably heard the term low inventory. We've been saying it now for 5 years. Low inventory, low inventory. What gave us our inventory, all of those people who normally were going to sell their houses just decided to refinance, because they were locked in at, somewhere between 4 and 6%, right around there, maybe a little bit more. And now they can refinance at 2.5%, and they don't have to jump into this super competitive market where it's bidding wars and they're paying way over ask and waiving inspections and waiving appraisals, and they just say, I'm just going to refinance. It was the smart thing to do. It's what we did. We refinanced. We weren't looking to move anyway, but we 100% refinanced. And that took away so much of our inventory. But what we didn't lose were all of the buyers who still wanted houses. We just didn't have anything to sell them. So basic supply and demand, right? A lot of buyers and not a lot of things to buy. Prices go up. And we are still in the wake of that now. I mean, I know rates are coming down a little bit. They're not in the twos like they were, but we have never caught up from that. We have never caught up on inventory since that happened. And so we still have instances where multiple offers, over asking, houses are selling the day they hit the market or a day later to allow showings to get through, stuff like that. So if you are someone who wants to buy a house, but you have a house to sell, the thing that scares you is, okay, if I call Eric and he comes over and he puts a sign in the ground, we're probably going to have somebody ready to buy this house immediately. And I don't have anywhere to go. And I have to jump into this buyer's market where there's not much for sale. And that means I'm going to have to accept an offer on my house because it's going to sell immediately. And maybe the house I want isn't on the market. So I've got to maybe settle for something. And then I'm just moving to move. So what do you do? Because I've been running into this a lot. And so I kind of want to talk about what I have found is the best way to go about that process. When you have something to sell, you want to buy something, but you can't do one without the other. And how do we do that? As always, I'm going to say my recommendation, your first call when you have this thought, before you do anything, before you paint a wall, before you change a countertop, before you do anything, is you call a realtor. You can call me. I'm a realtor. Call a realtor and have them come over and look at your house and give you some sort of valuation, because you're going to need to know this. Like, there are so many steps that kind of go into this. It's not as easy as just sticking a sign in the ground and then finding a house to move into and boom, boom, everything happens. There's a process, and it can take weeks. It can take perhaps months, depending on what needs to be done. But your first thing is you call a realtor. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over. We are going to go throughout your whole house. We're going to look at things. You're going to tell me all the things you were thinking of doing to make it better. I'm going to tell you all the things you really need to do to make it better, and what you don't have to do. More importantly, the things that you don't need to waste your time and your money on. And we are going to get your house ready to list. And I know, but we haven't even found you the house you want to go to yet, right? Right. Okay. We're going to get your house ready to list. So whatever improvements you're going to do, we're going to make you a list, and you're going to go through and make those improvements. And we're going to look at what your house is going to be worth after you do that. We can also look at what your house could be worth before you even do any of that. If you don't want to make improvements, if you just want to sell it, fine. Okay, we can do that too, right? There's always going to be a few things that I'm going to recommend. I mean, almost always. But maybe you can't do it. Maybe you're busy. Maybe it's a funds situation, and it's hard to get this stuff done, and we just need to get you out of there and into something else. We can look at those options, right? Okay, if we sell it like this, it's going to bring in about this much, versus if you do a few things, this much, versus if you do everything, this much, right? So we are going to put a proper valuation on your home. So now you have that knowledge. The next thing you're going to do is find a lender, right? If you're not going to buy your next house cash, if you're not going to maybe roll the proceeds from your sale into the next house and buy it cash, if you're going to get a loan, then the next thing you're going to do is talk to a lender. And then you can take that information from our valuation, because they need to get you pre-approved. But what they need to know is how much money you're going to be putting down on your new house. And you're going to know that because we've put a valuation on your house based on our meeting. So now you can go to your lender with that knowledge. Okay. The next step is figuring out if you do, in fact, need to make your next purchase contingent on selling your house. You may have heard of bridge loans. There are some people who qualify to buy a new house without selling their old house. And generally, it's risky, right? Anytime you're taking on two mortgages, potentially, that's risky. However, this market, and depending on where your house is and how quickly things are selling there, it's a little bit less risky. So if it's possible to move forward with a pre-approval and have a lender on board with a bridge loan, then you don't have to have that contingency in place when you make an offer on your new house. Then awesome, right? I mean, it's a risk. You got to go through all the pros and cons and everything like that, but it's going to make you a much stronger buyer. And ideally, we're going to have your house ready to go so that when we do list it, it's not going to sit. And so you're not going to run that risk of carrying two mortgages. So that's the ideal situation. But the whole secret to that is having your house ready to go before it hits the market. So you're going to talk to your lender. We're going to get you set up with a pre-approval. If you do need to make your offer contingent, meaning here's our offer, however, we need to sell our house to buy your house, right? So be it. It's not ideal and it's not easy. And I'm not saying, hey, this is how you do it and it works every time. But I'm saying that it's not impossible, I guess. So if you are wanting to make a move, we can get it done. And I've helped a lot of people do it. And it's tough, but it's not impossible. So we can go shopping at that point, right? We can go shopping. We can start looking around. We know the price range you're supposed to be in. In the meantime, your house that you currently live in, we are getting ready to get sold, because our goal is when we find you that house that you want, we want to write an offer. We can include the contingency if that's what we have to do, but we need to have your house ready to hit the market right then and there. Okay? So that means whatever improvements you're making are done. Whatever decluttering that you have to do, if you have to take out, if you have to get a storage unit to put some of your stuff in, whatever needs to happen has happened. Not only that, we've already got your pictures and they're there and they're waiting. So we've already sent over our photographer. They've got the pictures. We've got that whole package back. We've got basically your house is ready, every step of it. So all we have to do is go online, hit a few buttons, activate it on the market, and then boom, we're out there. So if we are in that position where we are ready to list like immediately, then it's safe to go shopping, because we know we find something, boom, we're putting your house on the market. And not only that, you've probably seen coming soon listings. So if we are pretty confident that we are going to be able to find your new house within a few weeks, we can already start advertising your house for sale is coming soon. The trick with coming soon in the condition, at least around here, and I don't know how the other MLSs work around the country, but around here is we have a maximum of 45 days where a house can be coming soon before it switches to active. 45 days, month and a half, right? So if we are pretty sure that, hey, within a month and a half, we're going to be able to find something that works for you, that allows us to start marketing and advertising your house for sale as a coming soon listing to give us that month and a half to find you something. And then nobody can come look at it yet. Nobody can come buy it yet, but they know that it's going to be coming available. And that starts building a buzz and it starts building interest, and people are waiting to see it. because right now it's low inventory, a lot of buyers. So if we can get your house ready to go and we can start advertising it as a coming soon listing, giving us time to find you something, meanwhile generating buzz and interest from the buyers who are out there now, that is going to greatly increase our chances of getting a quick contract on your house. And then what we can do with that is eliminate that contingency status. There are two types. And realtors, I know, I'm sorry, this is boring for realtors because you guys work with this every day. This is more for the public. We have two different types of contingencies. There is one that is contingency pending sale, and that means your house is either on the market or is going to be listed on the market soon, right? And that's a contingency of our offer. And sellers will accept those. Here's the catch, right? And this is important. A lot of agents might actually need to know this too. At least around here, this is how it works. If a seller accepts a contingency pending sale, meaning that the buyer's house is still on the market or is about to be listed on the market, but they don't have a buyer for that house yet, then that seller can accept your offer and allow their house to stay active for sale. Meaning somebody else can come and buy it still. And you have a select amount of time to drop your sale contingency, meaning you have a set amount of time, whether it be 24, 48, 72 out, whatever you put in there. You have that much time to either get your house under contract and drop that sale contingency, or work with your lender and see if you can change your financing around to buy the house without getting yours sold, to drop that contingency altogether. Because a sale contingency versus a closing contingency. Now, a pending close, that's the other type of contingency, which just says that, hey, our house is under contract to be sold. We have a buyer, we have a contract in hand. And in that case, whatever house you make an offer on, that seller can accept it, and the status goes to pending. So they're not staying active. They're not still advertising to buyers who can come and buy the house and kind of bump you. So two different types of contingencies. Our goal is to hopefully drop that contingency sooner rather than later. So a lot of people think that, well, if I have a contingency, a seller's not going to accept my offer. And honestly, if we're competing, if there's a cash offer, if somebody just has no contingency whatsoever, maybe they want to do a home inspection, but nothing else. Yeah, a seller is probably going to accept that one over yours. I mean, in all honesty, it just depends on all the other factors. But when it comes to just contingencies, that one's going to be more favorable. No doubt about it. But it's not impossible. And there are houses that are out there. There are some that haven't sold in a day or two, that have been on the market for a few weeks, that have been on the market for a month. And those sellers are a lot more likely to work with a buyer with a contingency. And they're out there. So we can find them. But the whole trick is making sure ahead of time that your house is ready to list, and that we can, in a moment's notice, activate that thing and get people coming through it. So, like I said, it's not 100% of the time, but there's a way to do it. And I've had a lot of calls recently of people saying, I need to buy something. I have something to sell. I have no idea how to make this work. And there's a way. There's a way to give you the best odds to make it work. And so that's all I wanted to talk about here, was kind of go over that process a little bit to give people a better idea of how to do that. So one thing I wanted to touch on is the pricing when you go to do it, because when you're going to sell your house and you have another house that you're trying to buy, I'm not saying you need to give your house away, but it's important that you don't try to set an area record with your sale, right? We're going to look at, comps in the area. We're going to look at everything that's sold. We're going to look at how long they've stayed on the market, the condition of everything. We're going to look at all these listings to kind of give us an idea of price. But we are definitely shooting for a quick sale. We are definitely shooting for like a day 1 or day 2 contract, because the house you're buying isn't going to wait around for you. They're going to want something quick in place. So we need to make sure that your sale is quick. So you have to understand that when you're pricing your home in the price range you're looking at, because, we can pinpoint a number, and you ask your realtor, when your realtor comes over, this happens all the time. Well, what do you think we should list it at? And we might give you a range, and we might say, if it were me, I would list it right here. And they'll actually give you a number. But what you want to do is probably be on the low end to like middle of that price range you're looking at. Definitely don't go to the high end. And I know that sounds scary. Like, well, I'm going to give away thousands of dollars on my house. I'm going to price it too low, and I'm going to leave money on the table. And I'm here to tell you, in this market, it is very, very rare that you leave money on the table. If we do it right, if we get your house ready and the pictures are great and it's marketed well and we get people wanting to see it, which it's super common, and we're pretty good at that part of it, as long as the presentation is good and people are wanting to see it, we could price your house at like $1 and people are just going to come bid on it, and it's going to go up to whatever it's going to go up to. All honesty, right? So if we look at that price range, and example, if it's, hey, our comps are saying that we need to be somewhere in the $300 to $350 range. And I know that's a really big variance in prices, but in some areas that's very real. You'll have neighborhoods where similar houses as far as size, obviously location, that's neighborhood, but size, bedrooms, bathrooms, all of that stuff matches up pretty well. And one sold for 50 grand more than the other. And the difference might be, hey, new roof. This one has got everything: new roof, new HVAC. The inside has been updated perfectly. And it's literally turnkey, move-in ready, maximum amount $350. And the one that sold for $300, maybe it's got a new roof and some new windows, but you have to redo the kitchen, so you get it, right? But it's not just strictly price per square foot around here. There's so much more that goes into it. And then that range just kind of gets wider and wider, where you have very, very similar sized houses, very, very close to each other, selling for way different prices. So that's going to give us our range. And so in that example, depending on what kind of finishes and what we've done to get your house ready, even if it's very much on point and on par with that $350 house, we might want to consider like a $340 price tag. Our whole goal is to get as many people in the door as possible, as quickly as possible, and ready to write an offer. And then what happens is as soon as we get a few people in there that want it, that are ready to make an offer, typically they're going to submit those with what we call escalation clauses that bids that number up to their highest and best. And so if you can get $350 for that house, if we list it at $340, you are going to get that $350 more than likely. You're not going to leave money on the table. We don't want to underprice it, but we want to price it aggressively enough to get a lot of traffic in there quickly. Because our goal in this specific instance is not to wait for somebody to buy your house, it's to sell your house. Those are two very different things. If you're looking for something quick so that you can get into the house you want to be in, we need to sell your house. We have to do it quick. So I'm not going to take too much time here. I wanted to get something out. This is one I've wanted to do kind of for a while, because we've had a few warm days. The sun's been poking through. People are starting to get out and about again, looking at houses, thinking about selling, getting their houses ready. And a lot of people have this question. How do I do it? How do I buy when I need to sell? Is it even possible? Is it even worth our time? And the answer is, it is worth your time. There is a way to give you the best odds to do it. I can help. I'm glad to help. I have made this work for a lot of people. I've helped a lot of people make this work. I don't want to take all the credit. I mean, it's a team effort. When you have sellers, when you can go sit down with some sellers and you can put a plan in place and get the wheels in motion, and they work with you, and they hit their targets and they hit their deadlines, and do everything that is asked of them, and then you're able to. I mean, it's on our end, if we're able to put out like a really nice, pretty package of a house out there and start getting the public interested, it just makes our job a lot easier. But it takes cooperation, and there are things that need to be done. It is still a really, really strong seller's market. But what's different now is buyers aren't just coming in and overpaying for a house that needs a lot of work or a house that isn't presented well. They were for a while, but it's not like that anymore. So in order to get it done quickly, get it done for the most possible dollars coming back to you for the highest sales price, we need to get your house ready. We need to make sure the presentation is on point. And it takes some communication. It's going to take a little bit of time. But if this is something that you're wanting to do, that you're thinking about doing, first thing to do, like always, like I always say, is call a realtor. This is going to be too tough honestly, to try to do on your own, to try to navigate this process as somebody, who buy owner, that type of situation. This is going to be too tough of a process. For one, you're going to benefit a lot from having a realtor help you get your house ready to sell, price it accordingly, market it out to everyone. I mean, I know you think, well, I can post on Facebook. Like, yeah, okay, everybody can post on Facebook. It takes more than that. And on the other side of it, when you're going to find a place, you certainly need a realtor on the inside there who can get you into places quickly, who can tell you about houses that are coming to the market that aren't even on the market yet, and more importantly, kind of has those relationships. They're realtors talk and they form relationships. And if I call up somebody I know in the industry who has a listing and I say, hey, I've got a buyer super interested in this. They have a house to sell, but here's the deal. Here's the location. Here's what we've done. Here are the pictures. Here's our whole presentation. This thing will be on the market today. And I have people lined up ready to see it. We should be under contract no later than tomorrow. Can you talk to your seller and maybe we can get them to accept an offer and move forward and make this happen? That is so much more likely to happen than if you call a listing agent as somebody just on your own trying to sell your house by owner and saying, hey, I've got this house over here. I've stuck a sign in the ground and I posted on Facebook about it. And I'm not working with a realtor, but I really want to buy this house you have listed. Realtors, okay, we'll present any offer, right? That's law. We will. But that is a very, very tough sell for us to get our seller on board with. Is this person is doing it on their own. They don't have a realtor listing their house. The buyer pool is going to go way down. It's not going to reach near as many people. The likelihood of it being quick is pretty small. The likelihood of that deal, whatever it is, falling apart on their end is increased. You can look this up. For sale by owner transactions fall apart at a much higher rate than transactions involving realtors. So it's to your benefit, definitely, to call a realtor. And I've gone over this before, and you can look this up. There is statistical information out there to look up that if you list with a realtor, on average, you are netting more money than listing by yourself. I mean, it only makes sense. The thought is you are giving away and paying commission X amount of money. And so why would I pay that out when I could just sell it myself and save that money? That would make sense if the number you could get for your house and the number I could get for your house were the same number. And that's not the case. I mean, the stats show that realtors listing your house get you a higher sales price, and more often than not, enough to cover their commission and then some, especially when you start looking at the time it takes to sell, amount of buyers that we can bring in to drive that price up, and the holding cost from however long you're sitting on the market waiting for somebody to come make you an offer. And then the likelihood of this whole deal staying together. It makes so much more sense, especially in this tough market, to call a realtor, have us help you out. We can it's just not as easy as it used to be. And so more and more hurdles are kind of being thrown in front of you. And this is what we do every day, is we navigate this stuff. So we can help you out. Call a realtor first. We'll come over. We'll help you get your house ready to sell. We'll get the pictures. We will get everything in place so that when we find you your new one, we can get yours sold really quick, and then everything's good, right? Happily ever after. American dream. Okay. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you tuning in. Call us if you need anything. The Pedigo team at the Real Estate Group. Follow our Facebook page, and just let us know how we can help, man. We really enjoy this. Real estate's a lot of fun. So give us a call. I don't know how to sign off here. I'm just going to hit the music. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll be back next week, hopefully with a really fun roundtable that I've been looking forward to for a while. And then I'm looking for guests coming up. So anyone wants to jump on, talk about real estate, let me know, and we will get it booked. Thank you for listening. I'm Eric Pedigo. See you later.